Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to another show on the Sports Music and Live podcast. Today, I'm going to be bringing you my review on the Lewis Crocker versus Paddy Donovan fight, which had a bit of controversy from the last one. Paddy Donovan getting disqualified for the use of the head and hitting after the bell. That was for the IBF Eliminator welterweight belt, but this time it was for the actual IBF welterweight championship belt. So it was at Windsor Park in Northern Ireland. Crocker being a home fighter, and surprisingly, I found out recently too that Britain does not have any world champions. So he could be our first world champion that we've had since Daniel Dubois lost all the belts. So we haven't had a world champion since then. Which is unlike Britain, because at one point we were ruling the world of boxing. At one point we did have most of the world champions, but I believe it's back to being America that's got most of the world champions. Inoue did fight at the weekend. He did win too. I'll bring you a bit more about that later on. I didn't watch the fights. I could only find the highlights. But so let's get into fight one. It was Molly McCann, a former UFC fighter. She did have a great amateur background in boxing, but chose to go down the UFC route because there wasn't quite enough money in boxing at that time, and that all credit to Katie Taylor, that really lifted women's boxing up, and a great career she had. So Molly McCann coming back, so she was fighting what you'd think was a journey girl, and I do apologise if I've got this name wrong. So she was fighting Red Mosca, who was a former kickboxer but chosen the boxing route now. So round one, let's get into it then. McCann takes centre of the ring, both working each other out. McCann lands the first big shot of the fight. Red Mosca was out of range with her punches. McCann lands the better shots of the round. So round one goes to McCann. It's as the fight went on that you started to realise that she might be a bit above the journey woman, should I say, but certainly out of her depth in this fight, as I'll go on and you'll see. So round two, McCann was on the front foot, taking it to Red Mosca, had a pinned on the ropes, and Red Mosca was looking like she was going to take McCann looked like she was going to take Red Mosca out. And then out of nowhere, she kicks out. So the old kickboxer coming and she kicks out. And McCann even says to the ref didn't see it. And also, I think it was on the commentaries or after the analysts were saying that she's lucky that McCann didn't give her an elbow or a roundhouse punch, you know what I mean? Because, or a roundhouse kick coming from UFC, I think she would have got absolutely annihilated by her. So that was round two. Round three, nice inside lead hook from McCann throughout the fight. Nice jabs from McCann. Switch hitting from her too. So she's changing from stances from orthodox to southpaw to orthodox. You know, you get the idea. McCann the faster and being the more aggressive. She was looking to take her out. You could see this. Going into round four, Red Mosca was getting away from most of McCann's shots in this round, but much the same from McCann and winning all the rounds so far. So going into round five, big shot from McCann on the side of the head. Now, I might have that wrong. I quickly wrote these notes down while I was watching it, so I could be wrong, but she did catch her a shot, and down goes Red Mosca. For the last two rounds, Red Mosca, she was surviving and running and getting on her toes a bit. And that's why McCann wasn't really getting to her, but she did finally get to her. Round six, Red Mosca again was taking big shots, and enough was enough from the corner, and the towel came in. So that was that, and she put up the best fight as she could, but McCann getting a good win. How far she'll be from a world title shot, who knows? Let's see what happens in the next few fights, and she could be another British world champion. So fight two is cruiserweight. This is Pat Brown versus Austin Namidi. Namidi. Sorry again if I've got that wrong. Again, I'm not very good with names. For those who watch the show know, I'll give it my best though. So it was a quiet start to the round. Brown lands a nice shot to the body in round one. This is Namidi comes back with shots himself with some hooks. Pat Brown landing nice shots to the body in and around the start of it. Sorry, my notes are all over the place here. And a round that started to look like a working out round. I do apologise for that. My notes are all over the place in that one. So round two, Namidi throws wild hooks in this round. Brown out of distance. Brown throwing solid jabs out. Nice right hand from Brown, and down goes Namidi. Doesn't look hurt. Nice hook shots to the head and the body from Brown. Big hook wobbles Namidi. And the ref steps in to call the fight off. It did look a bit controversial. It would have been a matter of time probably before Brown got him out of there, but the ref maybe saved him from a brutal knockout or a knockout. So Pat Brown is certainly looking one for the future for us. Someone to be looking out for in the future. There is talks about him taking on Itoma. I know Pat Brown being a cruiserweight, but they have sparred a lot and they're very good friends, so who knows if that'll be a future fight, but he's certainly on course to be looking like a bright cruiserweight fighter. So fight number 3 was at welterweight. It was a rematch between Tyron McKenna versus Dylan Moran. Tyron McKenna stopping Moran in the second round, so Moran looking to get some payback. He obviously wasn't happy about being stopped in 2 rounds, so he wanted to get his revenge. So let's get into it. Round 1, McKenna looking to pick up from where he's left off last time, landing some big shots. Nice uppercut to the body from Moran. Starts to fire with fire. McKenna gets cut, so McKenna is known for being cut quite a bit. Moran getting behind his jab nicely. Great first round. It was a really great action-packed first round. So yeah, really good fight. So round 2, Moran being a better boxer, so he was more the boxing ability. McKenna looking to trade off with hooks. Another all action round from both fights. They're much the same in the first round. With that one, they're both showing great action and both up for it. Round 3, McKenna just follows Moran around the ring, closing the gap, getting lovely shots off Moran, coming back with both fighters taking lovely shots. So both fighters coming back at each other and both taking lovely shots, but the power was certainly looking like it was with McKenna again in this fight. Round 4, best round for Moran to start with, but McKenna's shots are starting to have more an effect on Moran, getting wobbled at one point. So that was round 4, so this is really hotting up for McKenna. Round 5, Moran trying to keep McKenna off with some big shots, getting behind the jab, but McKenna just walks through the shots, and the power certainly with McKenna, as I said before. It's going into round 6 now. So Moran biting down his gum shield at this point, so he bites down the gum shield and he grits his teeth, getting his big shots off and throwing with venom and aggression. McKenna just stands back and says, come on then, you know, he's a game fighter, McKenna, and coming in and continue with the pressure and walking through the shots and getting his shots off. Great fight this has been. So yeah, it was a great fight for me. Really, really entertaining fight. To be fair, they all was in their own ways. We'll get to that at the end though. Moran's resistance was starting to show that he'd gone a bit more now in round 7, and the stoppage come from McKenna, and McKenna winning that fight again in a great fight. So that was that one, and this next fight was fights of the night for me. It's hard to split them because they're both just equally as good. And the next fight was Agrago, being and he was the unbeaten fighter versus Ishmael Davies, who I've seen a few times now. He's solid. He's solid with muscle, and this was at super welterweight. So let's get into this then. So round 1, Davies getting straight down to it, landing a nice heavy 1-2 Agrago, Agrago getting behind a stiff jab himself. Nice body shot from Davis. Agrago has the better ring movement, and Davis is hunting him down. So Davis is being hunter. Agrago was looking. He had the great footwork, and the defensive skills was with him. So round two. So that round I'll give to Davis. This one, because this was a very close fight. And then round two, a nice hook from Agrago. Davis still being a hunter, throwing a lot of heavy shots. Agrago have a very good defensive footwork, like I said before. And Davis was a switch it, so he could switch it up again. Like I said before, orthodox to southpaw, southpaw to orthodox. You get the idea, which sometimes can cost fighters, or sometimes works very beautifully, like it does with Terence Crawford. Usyk, I believe he's a bit of a switch hitter too. I know these fighters ain't in that category yet, but you know, just giving you an idea of some fighters that can do it and some fighters that can't do it. Yeah, so we're going into round. So that was the first round I gave to Agrago. That one. Again, sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. Round three, a nice jab to the body, followed up with hooks upstairs from Davis, missing with the big shot down. Down to good head movement from Agrago. Nice uppercut from both fighters. Agrago going to the body, having Agrago. I have Agrago 2 up at this point, so now he just took the lead in this fight, and this is when he took over control of the fight from these rounds. So round 4, Agrago using his defence work to make Davis miss and keeping out of range, and then landing some lovely straight punches. Yeah, some lovely straight right hands from Agrago at that point in that fight, and that was lovely. His footwork and defensive work, this is where he was winning the fight for me. But as we get on into the fight, things started to change. Round 5, much of the same pattern that has been for round 2. From round 2, sorry, Agrago making Davis miss a lot at times. So we're going to go into round 6. Agrago stands still. This is where, yeah, so he started to slow down and stand still now, and this is when Davis come into the fight. Has his success when it's up close. So when it was up close, Davis has managed to land them punches. Like I say, he was a hunter, and if you stood in front of Davis, you're going to be in trouble. Basically, that's when he's going to score his punches and win the fight. It's hard to fight anyone when you can't pin them down, really. But fighters with the aggression and hunter that Davis has, it tends to be the movers they really struggle with more. So where Davis gets shots in, landing other lovely uppercuts, nice hooks to the body from Davis, and winning the 6th round. So yeah, so he's starting to come back into the fight now. Agrago had a better round than the 6th, but Davis has won the last 2 rounds. Agrago is still winning by 1 round for me at this point. Agrago eye is starting to swell, so his eye is really starting to swell up now. So yeah, Agrago was winning still at this point, and the eye is swelling up. So we're going into round 8 now. Davis has had a telling off. So they did this shot, mate. Maybe they tried G'ing him up a bit more, but this is what I thought he had his best 2 rounds since round 2, and he got a right telling off. Davis had a telling off at the end of round 7, and Davis is responding to that. Even though I thought he like I said, had his best round since the first. In the last 2, Davis making Agrago miss at one point. Big shot from Agrago at the end, but I now have it all level, so all the fight was going in level because I gave him the last 2 rounds. And I think I had one draw, and it might be a bit later on again. So we're going into round 9. 2 big fight, 2 big right hands from Agrago, just bounced off Davis's chin. Hard round to call. Yeah, so this is the one I'll give it as a draw. The fight is still even for me at the moment. So we're going into round 10, and this is where Davis come back. Agrago come back into this fight for me. Another great round. What a round! Less than 2 was Agrago. The last 2 was Agrago. Excuse me. the last two. So Davis won the last two. Crocker has won this round and is back in front. He got back to what he was doing in the earlier rounds, making Davis miss and using his defensive skills. Davis will need the next two rounds. So going into round 11, back behind a jab from Agrago. Davis having his success pinning Agrago down at times, but Agrago wins this round. Davis will need a knockout going into round 12. Now, this is a bit of controversy for you. So, we're going into round 12, the final round. I feel like Davis needs a knockout for this just to win. And it were very close rounds all the way through, but it was just that one fighter that edged it. Apart from that one round I couldn't really call, and it was just the round of the fight for me. And I believe that's the one the commentators called round of the fight too. So going into round 12, so going into round 12, Agrago did go down. Now for me it wasn't a knockdown, he sort of tripped and he's on his way down, and Davis catches him with a shot. And this is where the fight could have really cost Agrago, because obviously how close them fights were, and them rounds were, sorry. So Agrago did go on to win this fight, and I think he just nicked it. Even with that knockdown, I believe he just nicked it, and it was a great fight, and I think we'd all love to see again. So right now we're going into the main fight, Lewis Crocker Crocker versus Paddy Donovan. Crocker is coming into this undefeated. Paddy Donovan was undefeated, but obviously what happened last time, he has that loss in him. So it was a cautious first round. Punches did get thrown. So we're going into round 1, sorry. Cautious first round. Punches did get thrown. The last minute of the round, nothing really landing. They working out rounds, so they're eyeing each other up, working each other out, seeing where they can pick their shots off. But as the fight goes on, it wasn't to be an all-action-packed fight. Apart from this round, obviously, round 2, more action in this round, but out of range. Crocker stepping out of range, trying to get Donovan to fall in and counter-punch him. So this is what the tactics that Crocker was starting to show he was going to do. So I thought he was having a working out, but he weren't. He was sitting back. He wasn't going to get involved, because in the first fight, Paddy Donovan had his number and he was getting bashed up a bit. So Crocker coming into this one, boxing it smart. Yes, they can be boring fights to watch when it's like that, but at the end of the day, like I said many times before, they are in there to win. Yes, we want to see them fights where they're wars and crunches, because that's what we love, but at the end of the day, we're not in there doing it, so they've got to do what they've got to do to win, haven't they? So so what we on to round 3. Round 3, a Crocker trap works, and down goes Donovan. Crocker lands a nice 1-2. Donovan struggling to pin Crocker down, but can't get in range. Donovan did land a nice jab to the body. So yeah, Crocker sets his trap, and Donovan falls for it, and it was an inside. It was a lovely hook, I believe, if I remember rightly, that puts down Donovan. He wasn't hurt from it. He was fine. So going into round 4, both caught each other with a nice shot at the same time. Crocker lands another nice shot. Donovan now getting in range and starting to land shots, jabbing to the body. Crocker wobbled but not hurt early in the round. So Crocker getting a little bit wobbled, but he wasn't really hurt. So round 6, Crocker poking the jab, still trying to set the trap. Nice 1-2 from Donovan. Down goes Donovan. Nice 1-2 from Donovan. Down goes Donovan after a big hook from Crocker. So the trap set again. And after Donovan landing a 1-2, looked very wobbly after going down and saved by the bell. So he looked like he was a bit hurt in this one after that shot, Donovan, and he was saved by the bell. So, but round 6 he comes back. Donovan was a busier fighter, but can't get near Crocker, the defensive fighter. So yeah, Crocker's being defensive. Donovan feeling like he has to put it on him a bit. So he did go down twice. But I think that Donovan started to take control of the fight. Donovan having success in this round. Crocker throwing more, but was out of range, which seems to be his game plans. So Crocker was looking to be out of range, and this was the pattern of fight. And when it becomes like that, I tend to stop writing notes, because otherwise it's going to get repetitive. So I put much for the same for the last two rounds, but Donovan is winning the fight because he's landing more punches. Crocker playing it. So Donovan starting to take control of the fight at this point. And when Crocker playing, he did have them 2 knockdowns, so that could have swayed it. This is why he went on to win it, Crocker. But the better fighter for me was Donovan. The more punches are landing was Donovan, even though Crocker was out of range. But Donovan started to take control of this fight. Yeah, so Donovan took control in the second half of the fight. Did get drawn into traps, and I think won, even though he got knocked down twice, like I said before. Like I say, for me, Crocker played it safe. It was a split decision, and Crocker wins the fight, and Britain has its new world champion. So, like I said before, you have to do what you have to do to win a fight, and Crocker went on to win it, and Britain has a new world champion. So let's get into the Anoya fight, the monster. I didn't watch it, did see the highlights. From what I did see, it was a very good fight. I will be looking to try and find that and watch that. It was hard to find it on UK TV unless you had ESPN, which I don't have. So yeah, so it's great to see the monster grow. So I've said before in my last podcast, Canelo is my favourite overall fighter, and I have to put the monster up there as my second. Up there as my 2 abroad fighters that I love. So right, thank you for listening to another show on the Sports Music and Life podcast. Really appreciate the people listening. Like I say, as always, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, ring the bell, please subscribe and all that nonsense, and I'll look forward to bringing you another podcast soon. Thank you for listening.